Today I'm going to show you how to make a card using these Graphic 45 Christmas Past collection. This one here is called We Wish You a Merry Christmas, and this one's The Holly and the Ivy. This can be, the style of this card can be adhered to any type of papers, which I'll show you at the end. But the one I'm showing you now will be using these Graphic 45s, some Ivy cardstock, some red cardstock, a scrap of white paper, recycled beige card, which is this here, Tim Holtz Distress Stain, Tim Holtz Distress Ink Pad, the Tim Holtz applicator tool, some gem glue, and the Nestabilities lacy squares. I'm using my Cuttlebug to cut that out, and a craft mat. Okay, so you start with your A5 card and you fold the card over to the centre and crease down the middle. So your card will open like so. I've put double-sided tape all the way around here to save me time, because I know you know how to use that, and I'm just going to use the pieces that I've cut out. I'm going to use a picker here to lift up this tape because my fingernails aren't real good for that. So we'll just take that off, and we're going to be putting the backing paper on here. Very gently. Don't worry if you make a mistake. I'll tell you why, all about that shortly when I fix up my mistakes. Okay. I'm going to put a red piece up the centre here, just to break up the papers a bit. And continue with the front of it with the Holly and Ivy paper. So your card will look like that eventually. Okay, now I've cut out a square of this Merry Christmas, Wish You a Merry Christmas, and you can see from that how many pieces I can get from the one sheet of paper. So how many cards that I can make is quite a few off that one sheet of paper. Now I'm just going to mount this on some red cardstock. And then I'm going to mount it onto some green cardstock using double-sided tape. It's not quite square, you can trim it off. This one's not quite square. My trusty Tim Holtz scissors. Cut that off there. Now what I'm going to be doing with that is sitting it on the front of the card. So when the card opens up, you will see this. But just before I stick it on there, I'm going to make sure that all these pieces are out of the way so that the card folds easily. So just trim off these little pieces. Hold that back and trim this one as well. So you don't have to actually have it measured precisely. Now you can see now that I've done that, you can see a little gap in between there. Now is when we can hide up all our mistakes. I'm going to be using Tim Holtz Distress Stain. This one's called Peeled Paint, and I'm just going to rub that along there, and that will fill in that cardstock so that it looks as if it's part of the pattern. You can go all the way around the edge to give it a nice frame. There you are. Now, before I stick this onto the front, I just want to put a piece of ribbon across there. And how I put my ribbon across is I'll put the double-sided tape straight across there and around to the back so that the ribbon will stay in place while I tie a knot at the side. So we just take that off, start the ribbon at that side there, because I'm going to tie a knot on that corner. Put the ribbon straight across there. You find if you put the tape down first and then the ribbon won't pucker. A lot of people put the tape on the ribbon and then put it on, but the ribbon does pucker and then you've got a bit of a mess. So we go straight across there, nice and easy. We can now just tie a little knot at the side there. Get my fingers around the ribbon, we'll be tying a little knot. Okay, it worked. Marvellous. There we are. Now we're going to be putting that onto there like that. So I only want to put some tape onto this half of the card. So we'll just go like this with some double-sided tape. You don't have to cut this tape, you can just break it, it's very easy to break. Now, just size it up. I can just see that I've made a mistake at the side here and not covered this. Can you see that little mark down there from the brown card? I'll just go down with that green. There. So now it's all nice and neat. Place the card like there. Now I want to put a little a little charm on the front of the card as well. I'm going to be using some gem glue just on the raised parts there. This does take a few minutes to dry once you've put it on, and you've got a very expensive tool here, a toothpick. I'm just going to put that right there. Now while that's drying, so that you've got something in the centre here that you can write on, I'm going to use my Cuttlebug machine, and we're going to be using the Nestabilities lacy square to cut out a centrepiece. I'm going to be using this one here, and on the Cuttlebug for these thin dies you use an A, a C and a B plate. If there's more intricate detail on your die and you're having trouble getting it out, use greaseproof paper on it first and then put your cardstock on. So we're going to be putting our die down, our paper, the B plate for cutting, and we're going to run it through the machine. There you have your piece. A few little bits there that we can poke out. Don't know what I'd do without this little poking tool. Now that looks lovely, but the thing is that it's very stark against these old worldy looking papers, so we're going to make it old world looking too, using the distressed vintage photo and a applicator tool. Start from the paper from your workbench out and go work in, otherwise you will end up with a big blob and you won't be able to move it around to suit yourself. So we go and see that that's taking effect and giving it an old worn look. I'll go into the centre now, starting from the edge of my craft sheet. There we are. Now we're going to put in that right there like that. Just make sure that when I close the card that it's going to not show through. Some more double-sided tape. Should have shares in this tape company. Take this, remove this tape. And place this in the centre of the card. So that's your finished card. Oh, I told you this takes a while to dry. So that's what your card will look like. Now just to show you that you can use other papers, this is another Graphic 45 Christmas Past. You could use that with these same papers here. There's also a golf paper from Feature Arts Designs. You can use that and see how many cards you could get from that one piece of paper, and you can use the back part. I've made a card here to show you using that. Exactly the same style as the card here, only using the golf theme, and we've put a little golf stick and a golf ball, and that's been put on with a black brad. You can use a silver brad, whatever. So that's how that looks, and that's that one.